I've experienced every single ride and show at Universal's Epic Universe, the newest theme park in the Orlando area, and now I'm ranking them all. We're talking Harry Potter Battle at the Ministry, we're talking Monsters Unchained, we're talking Yoshis Adventure, we're talking some of the most advanced dark rides of all time, shows with incredible effects, a coaster that jumps the track, flying with dragons, the whole shebang. We're gonna talk about every single thing and figure out which is the best of the best and how you should prioritize things on your trip to Epic Universe. Or just live vicariously through me, I welcome it. Let's go! This is me in the morning after filling in the holes of this video. As you can hear, Epic got me. I had a very good time. In 13th place, we have Constellation Carousel. Constellation Carousel is a new take on a merry-go-round where you ride in a really beautifully designed carousel inspired by the constellations. You board your very own celestial animal and get to sort of dance through space. The way the carousel moves, it lifts you up high and then moves you sort of in circles around the people around you. It's a slow-moving ride with no height requirement that anyone can ride, but it's not the most exciting attraction. Okay, just got off a Celestial Carousel. This is a super cute ride and a super unique carousel. Like you get lifted up pretty high while you're riding on these things, and the music is very like magical, inspirational. So you kind of like relax. It really does feel like you're like soaring among the constellations. I think that any kid will love this. I have pros and cons about the ride seat, because on the con side, I do not think that ride seat, the main one that most of them are, where you're actually sitting in like a saddle, is going to be comfortable for everybody. They do have other options though. They have accessible vehicles, and they also have just like seated, they call them moon boats, that are just regular seats. So the main ride vehicle isn't comfortable for everybody. Also, you can ride two to one of those. Basically, one person sits in the big saddle, and then probably your kiddo or your partner sits in the little saddle in the front. It is an intimate situation, so you'll want to be close with the person who you ride this with. You should line up for Constellation Carousel if you've got little kiddos, maybe want to kill some time or digest after a big lunch, or want to experience a little bit of a fresher take on a carousel. You should pass up if you've got lots of other priorities around the park, or want to spend more time in the four mainlands and less time in the Celestial Park. As a note, Celestial Park is also home to Astronomica's Splash Pad, which is the other attraction that doesn't have a height requirement, though this is really just a splash pad. Similarly, in Isle of Berk, there is Viking Training Camp, which is a play area. I won't be ranking those because they're obviously not geared toward me, but great to know for the kids. In 12th, Dragon Racers Rally. I'm about to ride Dragon Racers Rally. This is is this a missed sunscreen spot? I'm about to ride Dragon Racers Rally. This is a ride where you careen through the sky in your own Dragon Racer, playing the classic sport of dragon racing, which is where you collect sheep, historically, once they would get out. Very fun, classic Berk tradition. You're a new Viking, so you know, you got the dragon trainers. But you take to the sky and you control how much you flip around. I'm a little nervous about this one actually, because it looks like it can be a lot of flipping, and I'm not gonna go super, I wanna try to flip at least once, but I am a little nervous about it, but we'll see how it goes. Also, really cool view of Stardust Racers right here. Dragon Racers Rally, probably my least favorite ride I've done. It wasn't unpleasant, but it wasn't fun really either. So the cool thing about it is that you can control your own ride vehicle. You pull the wings to tilt them. So if you pull towards you, they tilt one way. If you push them away, they tilt another. And if you do that in a certain way, you can flip your ride vehicle over, which is cool. But I was scared to go upside down, so I didn't try it at first. And then when I decided I was comfortable trying to go upside down, I started trying to do it. And because I hadn't started out building up the momentum to flip myself upside down, I never made it. I never made it all the way upside down. No one in my whole ride vehicle made it upside down. So it's pretty tricky to do, honestly. Here's a pro tip. If you do want to try to go upside down on Dragon Racers Rally, when you get in the ride vehicle, go ahead and start cranking your wings. You want to move your hands in opposite directions. So push with one, pull with the other. And once you get it there, switch, and then switch, and then switch. And you'll feel that rocking, getting your momentum going, kind of like you're rowing a boat. And if you do that, then you might have a chance to flip over. The most likely point that you will flip is when you are on the way up in the arc to do a full barrel roll. But it is challenging, and I think I could do it if I rode again, now that I know what I'm doing.
but I couldn't do it on my first try.
You should line up for this ride if you are interested in controlling your own ride vehicle or want a challenge by trying to get the inversion. But you should pass up this ride if you haven't made it through some of the other more exciting rides around the park, are scared of heights, or aren't interested in getting the inversion, because then it is really not an exciting ride. 11, Curse of the Werewolf. This is our lowest rated coaster in the park, but I think it still has some pluses to it. On Curse of the Werewolf, you head through the Guild of the Mystics and hear a bit about the legend of the Wolfman. Watch out though, you may come across these guys as you are hurtling through the woods on spinning roller coaster vehicles. This coaster spins by weight distribution, so you can spin more, you can spin less depending on when you ride it, but you're gonna do some serious spinning. There are coasters like this around the world. This was the first one that I'd experienced. I liked it quite a lot, honestly. It just wasn't super exciting. The best part is you shoot through a little shed that has a werewolf menacing down at you, and then you have to go back through the shed and the werewolf is menacing down at you again. And the spinning is fun, especially like with your family and friends to like laugh along. It's just a little short and nothing spectacular. So that's why it's down in our 11 slot and our lowest ranked coaster. You should line up for this ride if you like classic spinning attractions like Mad Tea Party over in Disney World, or if you're looking to laugh along with the people you're with. You should pass up this ride if spinning is a little too intense for you, definitely. Or, like all of these, and I'll stop saying this, if you haven't made it on some of the higher rides on this list. So far, we've talked about the rides that I wouldn't consider must-dos necessarily. Now we're getting into the section where all of these are going to be must-dos for some people. And our number 10 in our top 10 is Yoshi's Adventure.
Yoshi's Adventure is a slow-moving ride that you would do through Super Nintendo World in your very own Yoshi in search of 3 colorful eggs and ultimately the mysterious golden egg, helping Captain Toad and Toadette, of course. I loved that. I really loved that. I feel like everybody's talking about Yoshi like, meh, which to be fair, like sure, but for me, that was the most I have ever felt like I was in a Nintendo game. Like walking around the land has a bit of that effect, but riding in a Yoshi as like chop plants and blocks are coming down and Yoshis and Baby Mario and Baby Peach and like just like collecting eggs in this life-size Nintendo environment, I've never felt more Nintendo-ized. Highly recommend that ride if you are a Nintendo fan. Also great for kids, although it does have a height requirement, just a warning. But super cute ride, and I felt like I was a Nintendo character.
Line up for Yoshi's Adventure if you're a massive Nintendo fan, or if you just want a bird's eye view of a really cool land, or if you have younger kiddos that do meet the height requirement. Pass up this ride if you're interested in more thrills, and or if being immersed in the world of Nintendo doesn't feel that interesting to you. Number 9, Fire Drill, Epic Universe's only water ride.
Fire Drill. I'm trying to do an action shot. This is an aggressive stream of water. This feels so good. Okay, I'm getting myself wet. Anyway, we got off Fire Drill. This was a blast. I absolutely love this ride. You're laughing, you're smiling, you're working along with the people on your boat that you don't even know. Depending on what side of the boat, you're either on Rough Nut or Tough Nut's team. And there are 3 target types. There's a fire, which is the easy target, a target, which is the harder target, and then there's a mystery target, which is the blue X. Now, I'm not gonna spoil it and tell you what the mystery target does, but I will tell you that if you wanna have a good time, and you maybe want to make your family suffer a little bit and end up a little more soaked than you, then sit as close to the front of the boat as you can and aim for those blue X's.
You should line up for this time if you want to have a really good time competing and messing around with your friends and family. And I think you can probably guess what I'm going to say about passing up this ride. If you don't want to get wet, steer clear. Pretty smack in the middle of our list are both of our shows, and I actually had a bit of a debate between which show to put higher. We have the Untrainable Dragon and Lasserk Ar Canoe, which is the Wizarding World of Harry Potter show. This is tricky because both of these have a little bit of that theme park show quality where the story is pretty basic at times. The Untrainable Dragon has the biggest wow moment that I experienced on my first day in Epic Universe, which is pretty cool. But Lasserk Ar Canoe has like 5 wow moments that all add up to be about as good as that big wow moment. So I really did struggle with this one, but I think for most people, the Untrainable Dragon is gonna beat Lasserk Ar Canoe because it is song and dance and fun vibes, where Lasserk Ar Canoe is kind of like mystery and magic and awe. I liked Lasserk Ar Canoe better, I think, but I think I would recommend the Untrainable Dragon over Lasserk Ar Canoe to most people, and also just in general for your first time seeing a show. I think the Untrainable Dragon is more of a must-see. So that means that in 9th place, we have Lasserk Ar Canoe.
Looking at some really cool forest perspective, but we are headed actually into Lasserk Ar Canoe. This little red tent located here in the middle of Paris hides the famous Lasserk Ar Canoe, a circus based on monsters and living curiosities. You might recognize it from the Fantastic Beasts films. However, it's a little past its prime at this time. A lot of its monsters are gone. So what does the ringmaster do? He steals Newt Scamander's suitcase. Bold. I'll say it. I'll say that it's bold. So we'll step inside. We'll see what the show has to offer. Okay, spoiler-free review of Lasserk Ar Canoe. That was a very cool show. I quite liked it. It was like really, at first, intriguing and kind of had like a dark tone to it, which I really liked. And some of the like circus acts at the beginning of the show are awesome and feel like very real magic, which was cool. Then Newt Scamander's suitcase gets involved, and of course, you might see some familiar magical creatures. I'll tell you, if you have played Hogwarts Legacy at all, I think you'll enjoy this show. I recognize a few creatures from Hogwarts Legacy that I love because of that game. So I think you'll really like the show if you've seen Hogwarts Legacy. In general, the story is very cute. It's a great length. It's about like 20-ish minutes, 25 minutes. There's a fun pre-show room, and honestly, seeing inside the tent is worth it because we all know magical tents are a little bit bigger on the inside than they are on the outside, and it's pretty cool when you get in there.
Line up for this one if you are a fan of special effects on stage and really cool puppets. You can pass up on this one if the idea of a wizarding circus doesn't interest you too much, or you don't have a connection to the Harry Potter or Fantastic Beasts franchise. Although I still think you might like it. It's just not a must. In 8th place, we have the Untrainable Dragon, a super popular show that I think is going to remain popular for weeks, months, maybe years to come. This show tells the story of the untrainable dragon arriving in Berk, and even Hiccup, with all his dragon training abilities, cannot tame this dragon. It has a lot of very cool special effects, including a moment where Toothless flies out over the audience that made me feel like magic was real.
I just saw the Untrainable Dragon. It was incredible. The show itself is super cute, like theme park length and a good story, great dancing and fun projections and effects. I love the puppetry, but I had one of those moments I'll remember as one of those magic moments where sometimes just like magic feels real, the stories you love feel real in a theme park. And I had one of those moments with Toothless flying above the crowd with Hiccup on his back. It felt so real. The way they do it is so incredible. The room fills in fog and it looks like you're up in the clouds, and all of a sudden Toothless and Hiccup fly out above you, flying around the whole room, and it looked so real. I had tears streaming on my face. It was so incredible. I love these movies, so it was just really great.
You should line up for this one if you have this big connection to the How to Train Your Dragon series, or honestly, if you need to get out of the heat and get a little air conditioning. This is also a great one if you love puppetry, or if you want to see a real dragon fly. You should pass up this one if you don't want to waste a big chunk of your day waiting for a show to start, watching the show, and being in a theater. You can also pass up on this one if you are more of a rides person. I'm a rides person, and seeing Toothless fly was worth it for me, but I can see the show not being worth it. I would rather get like 2 rides in on some of the rides instead of getting to see this show.
Oh, hey, sorry to interrupt, but if all of this is helpful and you want to learn a little bit more, we have a quick and easy guide to Epic Universe that you can grab right now as a free download right now by scanning this QR code or heading to AllEars.net/Epic Universe. Sorry to interrupt. Go back to the rides. Hope this helps. Love you guys. Woo, woo, woo.
Now I think we are in our must-dos territory. These 6 rides, if you meet the height requirement and they're accessible to you, these 6 are the Epic Universe must-do, the crown jewels. Particularly our top 3, which are so close in their quality that it was almost impossible to decide where each of them went. Our podium is stacked at Epic Universe. In 6th place, we have Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge. This is an augmented reality ride where you race in your very own Mario Kart game. You use your head that has AR goggles on to aim, and you're able to throw blue shells at Team Bowser as you race along for Team Mario. The goal is to collect 100 coins, and you drive through a bunch of iconic Mario Kart tracks to do it. Now, the reason this is in 6th place is because though the augmented reality is really cool, it isn't the most effective effect that we will talk about. In fact, it can be a little bit disorienting. This one is not going to be beloved by everybody because that augmented reality is a little bit tricky. But it has something working for it in that you do get a score, and you can keep your score over time tracked in your power-up band and your Universal app. Line up for this one if you are a massive Mario Kart fan and want to get racing, or if you like to play competitive games like shooter games where you gain points against your family. Pass up on this ride if an augmented reality illusion doesn't sound interesting to you, or take off the goggles. I've actually ridden this without the goggles before to take a look at the physical environments in the Universal Hollywood version, and I really enjoyed that, so that's another option. It's our top 5. 5th place, Hiccups Wing Gliders.
Next up is Hiccups Wing Gliders. This is, you'll see I rope dropped this. I got mine at the portal at 10:48. The portal opened early at about 10:45. Line was already moving in. Hiccup Wing Gliders up to a 35-minute wait as of 11:17. I boarded by 11:02, so it was really only 20 minutes from lining up outside the portal. It's only a 35-minute wait, so a good one to rope drop if you don't want to head to one of the more major attractions. Extremely cool ride. It's a very incredibly smooth roller coaster. My favorite thing about it is the fact that it takes you on a tour of Burke. You get to kind of do this part where you coast down near the water, which I'll show you. It looks really cool. I would call this Hagrid's Light because it is like Hagrid's in that it's a very smooth, just kind of like fun coaster without being super intense. It doesn't have the same like really cool surprises of Hagrid's. It doesn't go as fast, but there's a moment, which I won't spoil, but it's a lot like Hagrid's story-wise. You need to listen to Hiccup the whole time, and it does feel like you're flying a little bit. I will caution, be careful how tight you put the lap bar down. I put mine down a little bit too tight, and it was truly cutting off circulation in my thighs. So it actually made the ride kind of intense. Just be careful, like put it down where it feels snug but not super tight, because that was not comfy for me.
You should line up for this ride. Again, if you love How to Train Your Dragon, if you want a smoother coaster that's a little more family friendly but still has some thrill. You should pass up on this ride if G-forces are too intense for you. I was surprised by the amount of G-forces on this ride, and it is still more family friendly, but I would liken this in intensity to something like Slinky Dog Dash. Honestly, I'm changing my ranking. No, I'm not. In 4th place, Minecart Madness. This is the Donkey Kong attraction that you may have seen where it does look like the roller coaster is jumping the track. In fact, it works with the track under the track that you are seeing. Then there's a bar coming up to your vehicle that's actually holding your vehicle, but your car looks like it's jumping the track, making these impossible feats. This is a very cool ride with a lot of cool theming. You do get to see Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong on this ride, and it feels like your coaster car is jumping the track in a super playful Nintendo environment. This is an awesome attraction, but it is on the rough side. Because of that jumping the track mechanism, this thing is herky-jerky, so just be ready to be really jostled about.
Minecart Madness is wild. It's on a cantilever system, so it really looks like your car is jumping the track. And I'll tell you, I was not ready for that. It was a surprising leap that it does. And it's kind of herky-jerky. It's a very rough ride, even though it's a slower family coaster. I think kiddos are gonna love this one. I loved it. I thought it was surprisingly thrilling because watching the track disappear is kind of a shock. But it is so herky-jerky that it's a little, you gotta be ready for it. You know, I took an ibuprofen earlier, so that was good, but still.
You should line up for this ride if you are a big Nintendo fan, or if you love a coaster. Whether that's a thrilling one or a family-friendly one, Donkey Kong kind of fits into both boxes. You should pass up this ride if roller coasters that shake a lot and move you around a lot, that are on the more herky-jerky side, tend to be things you skip. Think like Space Mountain in Disney or Matterhorn in Disneyland. This is a very abrasive ride. Okay, the top 3. These are almost impossible to rank because they are all such incredible rides. Truly, I would give these perfect scores, every single one of them. So, very difficult to rank. The way I ended up ranking was by talking to everybody I could who was in the park and seeing what their rankings were, and by eavesdropping on people, because the most common conversation I hear is which of these 3 rides is the best, which honestly is incredible that there are 3 rides in that conversation. So let's talk about our top 3. Number 3, Stardust Racers.
I am headed on Stardust Racers. This is a roller coaster here in the park with 2 different sides, one that goes upside down, one that doesn't. They shoot off at the exact same time as if they are racing through the sky. And I've heard it's pretty intense, and I've heard it may or may not be better than Velocicoaster. So get ready for my first reaction. It's coming in hot. This is the greatest roller coaster of all time. I used to love roller coasters, but they've been making me feel really bad in recent years, and I've had to slowly fall out of love with them. This roller coaster was as intense up there with the greats, as fun as Mako, Velocicoaster. In fact, I would say it was more fun. The launches don't stop. You are constantly speeding up. There's airtime where you're like lifted out of your seat so often, and you can see the other ride vehicle doing the same things that your ride vehicle is doing, twisting around each other. That makes you realize what's actually happening to you. It makes it so much more thrilling, so much more interesting. I could ride this again right now. I could ride it again 18 more times today. I have never felt this way about a roller coaster in my life. This was the most fun roller coaster of all time. The best ever. People are nodding behind the camera. It is so good. Cannot recommend this enough if you're a coaster person. Even if you're kind of on the fence like me, Stardust Racers is incredible. 10 out of 10, no notes. I want to live at this roller coaster. I want to be strapped in forever and just forever be on a loop of this roller coaster. That was incredible.
For our top 3, my recommendation is going to be line up as long as the ride is accessible to you, because they are so good. But Stardust Racers is a bigger coaster. This is a true coaster, the only real coaster in the park. So if you don't do real coasters, it's probably not worth it. That said, I am not a girl who likes real coasters. I do ride them for work a lot, but I tend to skip them, and I absolutely adored this. So take that as you will. All right, and our final 2, you know that it is Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry and Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiment. It is very hard to pick between these 2, and I went objective with what I was hearing most people say was the best ride in the park. So our runner-up is Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiment. This dark ride takes you inside Frankenstein Manor and to the catacombs below to witness Victoria Frankenstein's Dracula experiment, where she attempts to bring the fearsome Dracula under her control. Things go awry as Dracula breaks out and releases many other iconic Universal monsters alongside of him. It is an amazing ride where you are riding on the Kuka arm ride system that you'll recognize from Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. That the track is down here, you are in a seat up here and can move around quite a lot because of it. And this ride prioritizes getting you in tight spaces up close to incredibly cool and scary animatronics. A common question I get is, how scary is this ride? I've ridden it twice now. I did get a little bit jump scared at one point, but kind of in like a surprised way. The ride itself isn't that scary. I think that if intense rides with scary visuals are something that will scare your kiddo or someone in your group, it might be one to skip or to look at Universal's pictures of the animatronics first, just to get an idea of what you'll be seeing in there.
It is more thrilling than Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. The ride moves you around a lot more. Although honestly, there's so much to look at. I wasn't even focusing on the movement of my ride vehicle. I was focusing on all the animatronics and the monsters. There were so many animatronics that were moving so fast, and they were huge. The animatronics were massive. My favorite was the Dracula animatronic because I want to kiss it. But I also, my biggest jaw drop moment was the mummy coming down from the ceiling. It was incredible. So keep an eye out for that if you do get to ride it. This is a must-do. I would steer clear if you are motion sick or if you've got little kiddos who aren't going to understand that it's not real. It's a scary premise and scary monsters, so something to be aware of.
For all these reasons, it's definitely one to line up for, unless you are motion sickness prone. I am motion sickness prone, and this is the only ride at Epic Universe that did make me motion sick. It makes me slightly nauseous for about 10 minutes, only slightly, and it is not nearly as bad as the Simpsons ride, Jimmy Fallon, Rip Ride Rocket is worse for me, Everest is worse, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey is worse. So it's not the worst motion sickness, but if heavy movement makes you motion sick, you might have some challenges here. The good news is you can see the pre-shows and wait in a family room. Most of the rides at Epic Universe have family rooms where you can wait for your crew if you want to maybe see the queue or wait with them but don't want to ride. Which means for our number 1 slot, we have Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry.
This is an extremely strong ride, a very cool dark ride that you sit in a Tower of Terror ride vehicle, but you move around a little bit like a combination of Spider-Man and Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, and yet somehow I didn't get motion sick. I don't know what they've done in there, but the effects are incredible. The screens, the robots are amazing. There's a lot going for this ride. The queue is potentially the most incredible queue that has ever been done, and the attraction itself feels like it is at such a large and dramatic scale that it really does feel quite large scale, quite real, what you're seeing and what you're feeling. It's thrilling, it's ingrained in story, it's very immersive, and it's a fun new story featuring familiar characters, and Dolores Umbridge. Goes a little off the wall from what you might recognize from the books and the movies, but it's a blast. Hopefully this helps you make a little priority list, because you can start at the end of this video and go backwards in the order of things you want to prioritize, more or less. There is some variation depending on what you like, but it's really only the bottom 3 attractions that I would even be willing to skip on a standard park day. The other 10 rule. And that is my definitive, mostly objective ranking of every attraction here at Epic Universe. If you're still here, like this video and drop this secret code in the comments so I know you made it all the way. And don't forget to subscribe. We upload tips, challenges, info, games, and more from Universal and beyond 7 days a week, because we're serious about fun here. Thanks for sticking around. Bye.